Welcome to Bigger on the Inside, the new Doctor Who Showrunner podcast. Here's Harry with everything that's coming up in this week's show.
Russell T Davies, 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 Russell T Davies.
I'm the Doctor. I'm a Time Lord. I'm from the planet Gallifrey in the constellation of Kasterborous.
I hope the ears are a bit less conspicuous this time.
You might be a doctor, but I am.
I'm a doctor, but probably not the one who looks good.
Absolutely fantastic.
All of time and space, everything that ever happened or ever will. Where do you want to start?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a very, very, very special episode of Bigger on the Inside, the new Doctor Who Watch-Along podcast, for various reasons. First off, this is our first video after we've hit the 500 subscriber landmark on YouTube. So that's very exciting, isn't it, Tim?
Yeah, it is.
Thank you, Tim. And additionally, this is our first proper installment of the podcast following some very, very, very exciting news. I'm sure all of you have probably heard it, and we will be getting into it.
The first of the Strictly Live shows.
Yeah, wasn't Robert Webb good?
He was, wasn't he?
He wasn't bad, yeah. He wasn't bad.
He's my favourite. He's what I want to win,
really?
yeah. Because I like Peep Show, so...
So it's your bias.
Yeah, and also he was in that one episode of Doctor Who.
What about Tom Fletcher?
He's my second favourite, just because I really like McFly. But that's it.
Yeah.
Those are the only two I really sort of like in it this year.
Oh.
I'm sure there'll be others. Who else is in it? Tilly Ramsey?
Why is Tilly Ramsey on the show? Honestly, what is it she does?
She's a TikToker, like me.
No, she's famous because her daddy's Gordon Ramsay. That's.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, I'm not saying I've not seen any of her TikTok work, so maybe she's producing something really special and worthy of being on the Strictly lineup. But as an outsider, literally, I don't know. I feel like we need to have a cutoff for when someone should be able to be a celebrity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Anyway, Doctor Who.
Yes. First off, before we get into the big exciting
there is
thing,
actual news this week.
Yeah,
that we do actually have that I haven't sent across, so this will all be on the fly.
Yeah,
we will be talking about Russell, of course we will, but of course we're going to save that to the end. So let's talk about the fact that John Bishop has wrapped up Doctor Who Series 13 filming. Did I send you any of these links?
You didn't send me anything.
Okay, well basically that's all you need to know. Is that he's finished his filming. He did a little Instagram video to say that he's finished. Doing something in which he didn't think he ever thought was going to happen, because I believe he was offered it, wasn't he? But it was going to clash with his tour, so he turned it down. But then, because of COVID happened, he was able to take part in Doctor Who. But there was recent set photos. I did a video on it. Did you watch that?
I did watch the video. Yeah,
you did. So you saw Did you see the little Instagram video?
Yes. That video. Yeah.
So, but we may as well talk about all of that as well, because it was also that Bradley Walsh is back.
Yes. When we saw Dan and Graham have a scene together, don't they?
Is it Dan and Graham having a scene together, or was that just a photo of Bradley Walsh and John Bishop?
Well, if they're
talking?
on set together on the same day, usually they only call people in to set when they're filming scenes.
Yeah.
So for me, like, there wouldn't be a reason for them to both be on set together unless they were doing a scene together.
Okay, so do you think there's a possibility these characters might be connected, or do you think it's just a coincidence, or do you think it's just a story point that?
I mean,
because I personally think it's going to be the 13th Doctor saying goodbye to everybody who she's.
That's what I was thinking. We already, the 13th Doctor has done things that have been very evocative of the Russell era. Obviously, series 12 ended with a what moment.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Chibnall has written in a very similar victory lap to the end of time, where David goes and says goodbye to all his companions. I don't know if it'll work quite as well. It's not going to take
very long, is it?
Well, that's the thing. Shoney's only got a handful of companions. Well, I guess the fam makes it a bit bigger.
There'll be John Bishop, Yaz, Graham,
and Ryan.
Ryan.
Well, I guess if each of them is a separate scene.
Yeah, that's 5. Is there anybody else?
Those are the only people she's formed like real bonds with during this
That's true. Yeah.
series. So
maybe she's going to go back and see that witch or someone who used to be in Benidorm. Do you remember the mum in Benidorm?
which episode was she in?
She gets turned into like a wooded woman. Her face gets turned into.
Oh, in the Witchfinders one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we're going to see her again.
Maybe.
But yeah, I think it's cool. It's a shame it's got leaked.
Yeah.
But then there doesn't seem to have been much to stop it getting leaked.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the thing... I have to say, the team during the Chibnall era have done a very good job at keeping most things under wraps.
Yeah.
The only things that they seem incapable of keeping under wraps for a very understandable reason is anything that involves outdoor shoots.
Yeah.
Because there's so much attention from fans on the Doctor Who production and their team that anything they do that involves an outdoor location shoot inevitably leaks.
Yeah. Everything we've spoken about, Weeping Angels, Sontarans, Unit, that sort of stuff has all been through what people have just seen on streets. But, this would have been a fun sort of surprise sort of thing. But it's also one of those things where it's going to happen anyway because every showrunner's done it. Matt Smith said goodbye to Amy. Peter Capaldi said goodbye to Clara again. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of inevitable it's going to happen. But yeah, it's strange that Tosin Cole is filming in America, so it's understandable why he's not there. So I wonder how much involvement he's going to have in this.
I mean, wasn't Jenna Coleman just like green screened in?
Yeah.
For Twice Upon a Time.
Yeah.
So they could do
something like that.
Yeah. Maybe we'll just have him like on a bike
doing one of his YouTube videos, and the Doctor just leaves a comment. I love you, bye. I just love the idea of like saying like his really emotional scores building. She's waving goodbye to Yaz. And she just pulls up her phone. Send.
You've gone off ratio.
Yeah. It's kind of. I got when I was looking at his photos, I sort of realised it's quite sad that it's all sort of coming to an end. Because
I mean, maybe it's weird. Maybe it's just because. Well, this is the first time since a child, like the Chibnall era, that I've been following Doctor Who as it's come out.
Yeah, same
and it
actually.
Feels, I know it feels shorter, both shorter and longer than it should have been.
Is that just because time goes quicker when you're older?
Maybe, or maybe it's a thing of like it's been quite a notable stretch of time. Like it's going to be kind of 5 years by the time we're through with it. But at the same time, there's the periods within that when there's been actual Doctor Who coming out have been comparatively.
We've been doing this podcast a year and we've only had one new episode of Doctor Who.
I was thinking that yesterday. I was thinking
crazy.
In the time done this podcast, there's been one new episode of Doctor Who.
That's not very good.
Those big ones. But we will soon be getting more because there's been certain things kind of leaking intentionally or unintentionally, which suggests series 13 is coming a lot sooner than we anticipated.
Yeah, because was it a calendar that suggested that it will air in December
of 2021?
But the rumour that seems to be more substantial than what we've had before is that it will be airing around Halloween time.
Okay. I mean, I've heard some people speculate that it'll start in Halloween and then finish in December. So it's going to be...
I think that would make sense because then you're going to have a special at Christmas time, New Year. Whereas if you were to start it in December, that doesn't really give you much run.
Yeah, and then we're having two... And then there's the two specials in the same scenery. Are those 2022?
Yeah, Easter 2022 and October time, I think it is 2022.
Which is weird because if... That means actually we're getting quite a substantial amount of Doctor Who relatively soon, which is weird to say because we've gone for such a long stretch without any Doctor Who. And now suddenly we're going to get quite a lot.
Yeah, I quite like that. I mean, the whole Halloween thing sort of speculated because they were filming an episode that was set at Halloween. There was pumpkins out on the street. So it would seem to make sense that if you're going to have an episode set at Halloween, you would air it around Halloween. And why not have a show about monsters and aliens air when everybody's dressed up as monsters?
Has there been a Halloween special in New Who? I don't think there has been.
There hasn't, but there should be. That would be cool. I quite like the whole pumpkin thing, that kind of an actual horror episode of Doctor Who. Not like, I know there is an episode where people go, oh, this is scary, like Blink or whatever, but one to really embed the whole Halloween stuff, kids dressed up, pumpkins, parties, that sort of thing. I think that'd be great.
And if there's one thing...
It's a really good aesthetic as well.
Yeah, and if there's one thing that the Chibnall era can do quite well, it's scary imagery. They have the production values to make some really scary looking monsters. Like when we saw Tim Shaw for the first time, like just that face with all the teeth stuck into it. That's a genuinely, if you were a kid, you'd be scared of that. So really lean into that real horror element.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the reason we've not had it is because Doctor Who has always been such a quintessentially British show.
Yeah.
And Halloween has always been a distinctly American holiday, even to us in the UK. So maybe that's the reason why.
I think it would work.
Well, I think it definitely
would.
Mrs.
Brown's Boys is getting a Halloween special, and Doctor Who can have one as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Why do we always bring up Mrs. Brown's Boys?
I don't know. I hate it. But, okay, let's talk about proper news, Harry.
Could I first have a word from our sponsor?
Okay.
The sponsor's me. I'm promoting myself.
Okay.
I mentioned it, I think, last week in the watch along, but I'm going to mention it myself.
You've worked this out. You've worked out why people are listening.
Yeah, but before we get into the chunky bit, I'm just going to do some self-promotion. This week, if anyone is in the York...
I don't approve of this. But carry on.
This is my biggest platform, Tim.
We'll see if it gets edited out.
We'll see. This week, I am in a short run of short plays in York from the 29th of September through to the 2nd of October. They're called Put On Shorts. They're at the Theatre at 41 in York, if anyone is in or around the area.
What's the vibe of the shorts? Are they different genres?
Yes, some of them are funny, some of them are quirky, some of them are quite dark.
It looks quite funny.
Yeah, that's a quite an overtly kind of comedic one. Some of them very heightened. Some of them are quite grounded. It's a real mix. They're all kind of used to be bits of a pub theatre station leads.
If people turn up, do they see all the shorts?
Yes, you see. It's 8 short plays.
How short are the shorts?
They kind of range from 10 to 20 minutes in length.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's about a 2-hour evening of short plays.
Is it 4 on and then an interval, then another 4?
It's 5, an interval, and 3. And the reason for that is that it's quite a small cast in all of them. And I'm actually in the most plays. I'm in 4 of the plays.
Oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, no, I'm going to try and come along if I can get some time off work or if I'm not working all night. So it should be good.
It'd be cool to see you there. And it'd be cool to see you there, listeners, if you are indeed listening and Tim hasn't cut this out.
Listener.
One listener?
Yeah, it's called Darius. Hi, Darius.
Hey, Darius. Hope to see you in York this week.
He goes to York. Oh, I don't know if I should say this, but he goes to York Uni.
Oh, then he can come along.
Yeah.
Hope to see you there, Darius.
There you go.
That's 1 extra ticket sold.
So, news. Let's do it.
Okay, so now
we did a video on it.
Yeah,
nearly 3,000 of you watched it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's been one of our best videos in a while.
That's what topped us over to 500.
Yeah, but now it's time. We've been kind of keeping things low energy, but now I'm going to hike it up because Russell T Davies is
dead.
Back. What?
Didn't you hear?
What?
He died. Harry, for the purpose of the podcast, Harry is now doing visual jokes where he pretends to check his phone. Russell's back.
Yeah, it's been how has it been since the news came out? For us,
2-3 days.
2-3 days, and it still doesn't quite compute.
It doesn't. Did you see Russell took a picture of himself with a Dalek in his back garden and
I did see that.
day 1, and I was like, this is so exciting.
It's so weird. It still hasn't computed. I think I've woken up the day after, and I was half expecting all evidence of it to have been erased, and it was just a weird fever dream. But no, Russell D Davies is coming back to be showrunner. And the thing that's crazy, we're gonna get a centenary special, and then we're gonna get a 60th anniversary special. That's 2 feature-length specials back to back.
Well, almost. Well, no, because the 60th will be 2023, and the centenary is next year.
Yeah, but like still, like those will be in terms of there's not going to be any Doctor Who in between that.
Yeah.
We'll go from one special to another special, and to a series.
So we're going to talk about speculation for the 60th.
Yeah,
because we did a video on it, and if you guys want to sort of get our general reactions to the whole
Yeah.
thing of Russell returning, definitely go and watch that because it's just two guys being excited for 20 minutes.
Yeah, my voice gets really high pitched at one point.
But yeah, we're going to talk about series 14, and the 60th one we're sort of expecting from this.
So let's start with the 60th.
Okay, my question for you about the 60th is that they obviously must be, if it's day one, they're currently working on a cast. That must be one of the first things you do. Is you want to cast the Doctor as well as writing, but because I think that must come first. Because if they're already wrapping up with the centenary special, they want to film that regeneration.
But here's the thing, because we know
if we're even going to get to see that,
because Jodie's last episode is that she's contracted to do is the centenary special, correct?
Yeah.
So we're assuming that she will be regenerating in that, but I don't know, because my question: are we going to see the 14th Doctor in the 60th? I'm not sure we are, because that seems like a really throwing a new Doctor in the deep end for them to be in a 60th, probably a crossover with other Doctors. It seems like a lot to take on.
So I think we will see the 14th Doctor in the 60th anniversary special. But from what you've just said there makes me think, will there be a crossover with Jodie in that? Will we see Jodie regenerate in the 60th? Because there was rumours this week that the centenary special is sort of left open-ended and it doesn't end with a regeneration.
I've heard that as well.
Which makes me think that maybe Russell's going to come in and write Jodie's last scenes. Maybe that episode opens with a regeneration. But then the fact that we're getting Bradley Walsh return makes me question that again.
Yeah, I don't know. This is, in my mind, this is what makes the most sense to me. But as soon as I say it, I realize it doesn't make any sense. I think the centenary special will end open-ended, and we won't have Jodie regenerate in that. Or if she does regenerate, we won't then have the first scene of the 14th Doctor within it.
Okay.
The 60th, I don't think we'll have Jodie or the 14th Doctor. I think it could potentially be all legacy Doctors.
Okay.
Like a pure legacy Doctors thing.
I don't think they will.
You don't?
No.
Because I just fear that...
You go through what you think for the 60th, and I won't interrupt you. And then I'll go through what I think.
I can't see Jodie being in it, because Jodie has kind of said that she came into this with Chris and she's leaving it with Chris Chibnall. So I can't see her in the 60th if that's a Russell Helm thing. And also, I just don't think it would be a wise move to put the 14th Doctor in the 60th as their debut, because they'll be immediately outshadowed by any returning classic characters, including presumably new Doctors.
Yeah.
Unless the 60th doesn't have any new Doctors and it is just a big introduction to the 14th Doctor, but that seems like a very weird way to introduce a new Doctor.
Yeah.
So I think it's just going to be legacy Doctors.
Okay, so here's what I think for the 60th is I think the 60th will be the first adventure of a new Doctor. Whether or not you see the regeneration or not between Jodie, I don't know. I think it's likely it will include some past Doctors who are perhaps trying to help this future version of Doctor out of perhaps a tricky regeneration. Perhaps this new Doctor has forgotten that they're the Doctor and they need reminding, and they are helped by that by past Doctors.
That's a smart way to do it. So
past Doctors come in, and through visiting various past Doctors, this 14th Doctor is reminded of who they are.
Okay, so it's not really an introduction to the 14th Doctor, because it's going to be a post-regeneration story as well, where the Doctor's not completely themselves.
Yeah, if you look at the only post-regeneration story we have from Russell, which is Christmas Invasion, David spends half the time in bed, and then at the end he's the Doctor. So I feel like we're going to possibly get something like that, not where he's in bed, but where the 14th Doctor is. 14th Doctor is maybe slightly quirky. They don't know who they are yet. They're a bit off the wall or whatever. And I know you're not a big fan of stuff like that, where they're trying to find out who they are.
Yeah,
I feel if you were to then partner that with, hypothetically, Matt Smith and Colin Baker and Sylvester and David, whoever, right? That would then work quite well, because you would have the familiarity of past Doctors sort of maybe introducing new viewers going, it's okay, I'm here. It's all going to be okay, sort of thing with this new guy.
Okay.
Or girl or whatever.
I could see that working.
Because if you don't do a multi-Doctor thing for the 60th, it is a shame. Because it's the only time I can sort of really warrant it. Is I liked Twice Upon a Time. I thought it was an amazing episode. But I sort of go, oh, you could have saved that idea. Do you know what I mean? For something else.
Yeah.
The fact that the first Doctor's in it doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah.
It's sort of just a nice thing for fans. Almost.
Well, that's the thing for me. That's the thing, Myra, because that was Twice Upon a Time was predominantly Capaldi's last story. And like you said, the first Doctor being that was nice, but it was kind of overshadowed by the fact that it was Capaldi's last story. Yeah. And I worry that a 60th being the introduction for 14th Doctor would be a similar deal where seeing these other Doctors would be nice, but that won't be what the audience is paying attention to because they're paying way more attention to this new Doctor and breaking them down. Yeah,
I guess so. But then I feel like past Doctors, I'm just saying David because Tennant at the moment is probably the most likely candidate to be returning.
Yeah.
He's already said he's up for it and it's Russell.
Yeah.
He is Russell's Doctor, let's be honest. So, but I feel those actors are sensible enough to know that fans will be excited to see the return of 10, but they also know that the importance of that episode isn't actually their return. It's to make sure that whoever the new person is gets the attention.
But I don't know if that should be the purpose of a 60th. I don't think the purpose of a 60th anniversary celebration should be to prepare people for what's next. It should be to celebrate the legacy of the show.
And I think you can do that by bringing back past Doctors, but then when you watch it, you will go, the hero of that was whoever the new Doctor is, Ollie.
Yeah. That's it. I just because the thing is, we talk about we'll get
when we get into series 13.
Yeah, when we 14.
It's series 14 and the 14th Doctor. It's a very strange coincidence.
It is very strange. And I'll say what I was about to say when we say that. Is there anything else you want to say about Spectration of the 60th? Who do you think is going to come back for it?
David, Matt, hopefully Chris, not Peter.
Yeah. I don't know. Peter's definitely not because he's said he thinks that there's an oversaturation of multi-Doctor stories.
But then again, one thing I think we're overlooking is that this is Russell. And we didn't think Russell was going to return. So what's the point of speculating who is and who isn't?
Well, that's the thing. Like, we do all this speculation, but we know now that it's just all completely in vain.
A Russell T Davies anniversary special is going to be mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And whatever you think it's going to be, it won't. It will be better.
That's the thing, because our understanding of Russell T Davies and Doctor Who is from 12 years ago.
Yeah.
The world has changed. Russell's changed. This is going to be a distinctly different feeling show to it was back then.
I hope it is a multi-Doctor episode because I look forward to seeing how Russell writes for former Doctors. Because when Stephen wrote for David, Stephen had wrote for the 10th Doctor before, but there is a definite character. Something isn't quite right in the 50th with David's Doctor, I think. And I'm not sure what it is. And maybe it's just because he's had time out of it. Or maybe it's because it's an anniversary special, so they try and get all the lines in. He says Alonzi, he says timey-wimey.
It's very weird to say he had time out, because if you think about it, between David leaving and being in...
That was 4 years, wasn't it?
It was 3-4 years. Yeah. It's been way more time now since David's been the Doctor.
Yeah, it's true, actually. But you know what I mean? There was something not quite there, but it was amazing. I'm not slating that performance or anything.
It was the hair.
The 10th
The
Doctor.
hair was wrong.
Possibly. But do you know what I mean? So, and Russell's wrote for Matt Smith on the Sarah Jane Adventures.
Yes, and that's interesting that I hope we get to see Matt Smith at least in this 60th, written by Russell, because that's just an interesting thing to see Russell writing for a Doctor who didn't even exist when he did the show. Yeah.
I would love that, and fingers tightly crossed for Chris, because that would be... I
mean...
I just want to say, right, 3 days ago, we lost our shit over the fact Russell was returning. I think that's the second time I've ever got on the phone to you and said you have to podcast.
The first time was...
Jodie leaving.
No, it was... you got on the phone for me when Chris came back to Big Finish.
So 3 times then?
Yeah.
So when Chris returned for Big Finish, which was the day after we set up the podcast, Jodie leaving and the return of Russell. And I think, can you imagine how exciting it will be if they say Christopher Eccleston is returning for a Russell T Davies 60th anniversary special?
And I feel like this could be an opportunity. I know there's history, history that's been discussed quite openly.
Yeah.
But kind of Chris said that the thing that he would want is an apology from
the BBC.
Yeah, and he by name referred to both Julie Gardner and Russell T Davies.
Yeah.
Both of them are coming back to the show now. So they're kind of in a prime position to
sort that out.
Yeah. To extend a hand and to patch things up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we're very close to that happening. That feels very tangible.
And I'm not doubting anything anymore. I feel like we can speculate everything, and at the end of every speculation, I'm going to go, but we don't know anything because Russell returned.
Yeah.
That's it, isn't it?
That's it. That's the trump card. Like the thing we never thought was going to ever happen has happened.
But like 2 weeks ago, I was going, they're going to cancel it.
That's what we said. Like literally, the episode before this one, we said, I feel like the show might take a break.
Yeah,
maybe the show needs a break, but it's not having a break. It's keeping going with full force, which is absolutely insane.
Should we go on to series 13?
Yes, 14.
Goodness sake, series 14.
Yeah, but before that, should we talk about
another play you're in?
No, the 14th Doctor.
Okay, yeah, let's start with who. Okay, so joking aside, Ollie Alexander is possibly the most obvious choice.
Yeah. The whole time we're talking about the 60th,
it's Ollie in my mind.
Every time you refer to the 14th Doctor, immediately in my mind, Ollie Alexander was the face I saw.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. If I don't know if you've seen have you seen It's a Sin?
Yeah, we spoke about it.
Oh, we did, yeah. I mean, we both agree that Ollie is an incredible actor and he has what it takes. Russell's spoken openly in favour of him. He can do that now. It just makes too much sense. And Russell, back when he did it back in 2005 to 2009, the two people he picked as leads for the Doctor were people who had been leads in shows he'd done before. Christopher Eccleston was the lead in The Second Coming, which Russell wrote, and David Tennant was the lead in Casanova, which Russell wrote. So Ollie was the lead of the last show that Russell did, It's a Sin. So it would just
any one of those guys from It's a Sin really could be in with the champion.
Yeah, that's another name.
Who is it? Who plays? Who's the main female lead?
Lydia West. Yeah. Lydia West is another name which I've heard, and she was in Years and Years as well.
Yes.
The TV show, not Ollie Alexander's music project. Yeah. And she as well. I think she has what it takes.
Yeah.
Lots of people have actually been saying they want Ollie and Lydia as a Doctor companion, either or.
I like that, but I feel it's too obvious.
I think it's too obvious. I don't think they're both going.
I would maybe be annoyed by that because he's sort of then limiting other people who could do it. If you're just going to pick from a pool of whoever you've worked with before. That said, you just reminded me then. Russell in the past has picked the leading actor of whatever his last project was. So I'm going to throw the name to you, Ben Whishaw, A Very English Scandal.
Okay. That's interesting.
Often a fan favourite that's thrown around a lot.
Yeah, I remember he was very popular, like when it came to the 13th Doctor speculation.
A name that is big enough for the show, but maybe not too big.
The voice of Paddington there.
Exactly. And
Q from James Bond.
I was talking to a friend on the phone the other day, and I was saying the fact that Russell, because we've often said on the podcast, you get names thrown around and we often go, too big for the show. But I would say because Russell is bigger than Doctor Who now,
I'd say that's true.
That we can now actually get lead actors into the show who are often disregarded because they are too big.
Yeah, Russell has that kind of draw.
Maybe not someone like Helena Bonham Carter or what's his name? Who plays Luther?
Oh,
Idris Elba.
Yeah.
No, I don't mean people like that, but like people like Ben Whishaw is a real possibility and stuff like that.
What do you think of the possibility of casting like for a one-off series, like an A-lister?
Like we spoke about this in the past, haven't we? I think.
Yeah.
We've sort of gone like get Rowan Atkinson or someone for like one series.
I think you could get someone bigger than Rowan Atkinson.
Oh yeah, especially with a one-off Doctor Who series with Helena Bonham Carter would be amazing because she just like the Doctor. Like I see her in interviews and stuff, and like the way she dresses, it just be amazing. But Lydia West now might be my favourite, now that you've said it.
Do you think Lydia West, do you prefer to see her over Ollie?
I think so, yeah. Because I generally think it should be a woman. I think it should continue like that.
I think...
Because I feel like if you go back to a dude, it doesn't say it didn't work, because it did. But I feel like from an outsider speculation, you would sort of go, from someone who isn't really into the show, you go, oh, they've gone back to a guy. Because the one thing everybody knows about Doctor Who at the moment is that he's played by a woman. That's what everybody knows. So I feel like if you were to go back to a guy, people would sort of go, oh, it didn't work. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? The female experiment, that bollocks. But I feel it should be a woman, and I think Lydia West would be great.
Yeah, I think I'm assuming that Russell will stay on for long enough to see 2 Doctors through.
Yeah.
We can't guarantee that, because obviously Russell's very in demand.
Yeah.
It might be that this is a really short tenure for him. I hope not.
Yeah.
But
I would be happy if his tenure is exactly the same as what it was before.
Another 4 series.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be incredible.
That would be quite long.
That would bring his total up to 8 series, which would make him the longest serving showrunner again.
Hooray.
That's longer than Moffat. But anyway, assuming that Russell were to stay to do another 2 Doctors and see another 2 Doctors through, I wouldn't be. I think at least one of those 2 Doctors would be a woman.
Yeah. I would be very surprised with Russell's track record of Queer as Folk, Cucumber, a Very British Scandal, years and It's a Sin, years and years. If he goes back to a white straight dude, I would be so surprised, because Russell is so passionate about promoting difference and, what isn't seen, I'm doing quotation marks here, a social norm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think so. I think it is important that with Russell at the helm, because you are going to bring in that whole community of LGBT plus people who are going to come and watch the show now that Russell's attached to it. So why not put somebody who isn't just a white bloke, a white straight guy in the lead?
I mean, in my mind, I wouldn't be surprised if, say, 14 was Ollie and then 15 was Lydia. Yeah. I can see that happening. Yeah. That sounds like a very realistic thing to happen, especially with Russell at the helm.
Yeah. Like I keep saying, I keep seeing comments on some of our videos where it's like, can't be Ollie, he doesn't look like the Doctor. And I'm like, the fuck does that mean? How can you not look like Doctor Who? Because it looks like anybody. Yeah,
I remember you mentioning this to me. And
I get it to an extent, because everybody who's played the Doctor, they have a slight quirk about them. And I think maybe they're suggesting that Ollie doesn't have that slight quirkiness look about him.
What are you talking about? Ollie's really interesting.
Exactly, this is what I mean, right?
Like Ollie's style, Ollie doesn't have like a... I think the only thing the Doctor can't be is too conventional. Like some people, is it Tom Ellis who plays Lucifer?
Yeah.
I think sometimes...
who did I mean? I meant Luther.
Yeah.
When I said Idris Elba, I think I said Lucifer. Yeah.
But Tom Ellis who plays Lucifer, some people throw his name around, and for me, I think he's almost
too Hollywood handsome.
So, yeah, he's too conventionally handsome too. I know we've had like David Tennant and etc.
But David Tennant is British handsome.
And he's kind of he had the kind of nerdy niche thing going on. Exactly. Whereas Tom Ellis is a very handsome man. I think that for me can't be the Doctor.
He'd be a great master.
Yeah. But for me, that can't be the Doctor, because it's too just kind of straight-laced, too conventional. The Doctor needs to be a little bit unconventional.
Yeah.
And I think Ollie's a very interesting-looking person. I don't mean that in any kind of disparaging way.
But no, it's like, you look like...
Ollie's really interesting to watch.
Whenever I get photos of Ollie for thumbnails and stuff, like, his fashion sense is batshit off the wall crazy, and I love it. And I think maybe that could scare people off a little bit who aren't familiar with him. And I totally understand it. I can understand why people... All right, I've got to be so careful what I say, because there is people who just don't want him to be the Doctor because he's gay or whatever, because he's not a straight white dude. And there's the same people who won't like the fact that Jodie Whittaker's there because she's a woman. But I also understand that there might be people who sort of look at what Ollie wears on his tours and stuff and sort of worry that that's where Doctor Who's going to go. Like that sort of Nesh t-shirt sort of thing. And I would be heavenly so surprised if that's what happens.
Hasn't Doctor Who always been super camp and colourful though?
Yeah, but
look at Colin Baker's
do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, exactly, right? But I feel like you just so got to trust in Russell. Like Christopher Eccleston just wore a leather jacket. Do you know what I mean? That's interesting, because I think Ollie in a lot of ways actually reminds me of Christopher. Okay. Like I don't think Ollie or Chris are, if upon first appearance, what you would describe as, say, just like a conventionally,
in the Tom Ellis conventionally attractive facial structure, yada yada yada. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then you watch them perform, and like Chris performed with such a magnetism and just a charisma, and you just can't look away when he's performing. And it's a really kind of beautiful thing that just really comes alive. And I think Ollie has that as well.
I'm just gonna, for the purpose of the podcast, I'm gonna just to back up what I just said a minute ago about outfits and stuff like that. As I think people, I'm showing Harry a picture on my phone. So I think people Google Ollie and they see him wearing outfits like this.
Yeah.
And then go, that's not what Doctor Who would wear.
Sure it is. The Doctor would totally wear that.
It is, but I don't think that's what would be fronted on the series.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I wouldn't have a problem with it myself, but I can understand why it would maybe fear some certain people off. Do you know what I mean? Lydia West for me, Ollie for you.
I'd say so. I think they'll both. I can see them both being a Doctor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So a bit more about Series 13. I've got some notes here. What if I God's sake. What if I run through these notes and you just tell me what you think?
Okay.
I think there's going to be spin-offs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we talked about that before.
We did. That it makes sense. Russell's already talked about wanting to expand Doctor Who into a big media empire.
We spoke about the possible return of Murray Gold.
I think that's inevitable. Murray's worked on pretty much all of Russell's TV shows.
Yeah.
I think that just goes without saying that Murray Gold will be back.
Ersin Lind's return as director, directed Two from Corn, Runaway Bride, and a number of other Russell episodes.
Yeah, that makes sense. Who directed It's a Sin? Because I believe they worked on Doctor Who as well.
Peter Hoare directed It's a Sin.
Has he directed Doctor Who as well, hasn't he?
I'm not sure. I'll have a quick look whilst you talk.
Yeah, because I believe... Because I know there are a lot of people who we've talked about with the Bad Wolf production team that were originally or did work on Russell's era of Doctor Who. So I imagine all of them will pretty much be returning.
He's only directed one episode of Doctor Who. It's A Good Man Goes to War.
Oh, right. Interesting.
And the other thing I've got is with Russell returning as showrunner and head writer, is that there's a he's not going to write every episode he never did.
Yes.
Are we going to see some past writers return, i.e. Paul Cornell, Stephen Moffat?
I think Stephen Moffat will be returning as a writer. I would be
so surprised if he doesn't get asked.
Yeah, because the thing is...
there's an interview where an interviewer asked, do you come up with Doctor Who ideas? And it's Stephen and Russell both stood there. And Stephen's like, yeah, all the time, I'm always coming up with Doctor Who ideas, but this is when they've both left the show.
Yeah.
And Russell's like, no,
don't think
about it anymore.
That's the thing. I really wholeheartedly do think Moffat will come back. Moffat, in another different interview, said that if he would have been perfectly happy staying working under Russell as showrunner and just writing an episode every year.
Yeah.
He found that joyous. He loved that. I think he kind of enjoyed doing that more so than being showrunner.
Yeah, you can see why.
I think like everyone from that period, Paul Cornell, Stephen Moffat, Mark Gatiss, I think we'll be seeing a lot of their faces, or at least their names and writing credits, coming back to write the show. I think there'll be some other people in modern British TV. I imagine I'd really like to see Jack Thorne write an episode of Doctor Who.
Didn't he do that BBC drama?
He did help on Channel 4 recently.
Oh, was that the Jodie Comer?
Yeah.
That was good. Yeah.
And he's done a lot of other things. He did I don't know where to begin with the things Jack Thorne has done. But I know that Russell's a big fan of his work, so I think it'd be cool to see someone like him write an episode as well. Do you think there'll be any people from the Chibnall era who might be brought back?
I would be surprised if they didn't bring some of them back. Who was the guy who we speculated could be showrunner who wrote Kablam? Let me have a look for his name.
Oh, yeah. And also, I know I really loved Haunting of Villa Diodati by Maxine Alderton, and lots of people kind of held that as one of the best of the Chibnall era. Yeah. So I think it'd be cool to see her come back as well.
Yeah, Peter McTighe.
Oh, yeah, him.
Yeah. Peter McTighe.
Yeah.
McTighe.
Well, I think now it's especially if things are given. Once you're part of the Doctor Who family, you never really leave.
Yeah, there was a Doctor Who book recently, wasn't there? Doctor Who Lockdown, lockdown book or something. Let me have a look. And there was a number of writers on there. I think Russell was actually one of them. I'm just going to look because on the cover it tells you who wrote for it. So the story's from Chris Chibnall, probably not going to return.
No, I don't think so.
Paul Cornell, very likely. Russell T Davies, obviously. Neil Gaiman.
Ooh, it would be cool to see Neil Gaiman.
Mark Gatiss. Pink the Ties on there. Stephen Moffat. Vinay Patel.
What else have they written?
and Joy Wilkinson. I don't know how to look. You've got to keep talking though while I have a look.
Though speaking of books, that reminds me of something. This is getting back to 14th Doctor casting.
Okay.
Do you remember when Russell did the novelization of Rose?
Yes.
And in that, they expanded upon the bit when Rose went to see the guy who did all the research into the Doctor. And he had photos of different Doctors, including post-Eccleston ones. And amongst those, Russell also, I think, referred to a young boy in a wheelchair and a black woman with a flaming sword.
Yes.
Do you think either of those are indicators of who Russell might cast, or do you think that's just throwaway things that he put in?
I think that's throwaway things because he also did a book of poetry.
Okay.
Where there's a number of different Doctors mentioned in there as well.
Okay.
Yeah. This dude here wrote Demons of the Punjab, Letters from the Front and Fugitives of the Doom.
Okay. Okay, cool.
And there was another one on there, Joy Wilkinson, but I didn't recognise that name, so I'll have a look as well. Joy Wilkinson, no relation to Joe Wilkinson, British comedian. I recognise. I think Joy Wilkinson, I think we threw her name out actually for, what do you call it?
Showrunner?
Showrunner, actually.
We threw out so many names for Showrunner, and they were all wrong.
The Witchfinder.
Oh, yeah.
They were all wrong with.
I find it so amusing that we threw all his names out and we're like, at least one of these will be showrunner. And then the one that is showrunner was the one we actively dismissed.
We actually did a video, didn't we, in which you suggested Stephen Moffat and Russell T Davies returning for the 60th. You said 60th could be a three-part, first part written by Russell, then Stephen, then Chris.
Hey, we got something right.
That video's done very well this week.
Literally every video, honestly,
I'll have a look now.
I have to say, Russell T Davies is the reason we've hit 500 subscribers this week. Like, him coming back has done wonders for our channel because our channel so far has been pretty much exclusively the RTD era, and we talk about, as a result, that feeds into the news a lot, and we talk about Russell a lot in the news. So we have so many videos about Russell T Davies and so many videos about, say, Ollie Alexander and etc. And they've just all hiked up in numbers.
In the last 48 hours, here are our most viewed videos. Russell T Davies returning as Doctor Who Showrunner. Russell T Davies returning to Big Finish. Russell T Davies, Stephen Moffat to write the write 65th anniversary special. That was the one I was just talking about.
Yeah.
The truth behind Ollie Alexander's casting as Doctor Who. Two videos that came out this week. Ollie Alexander is the same cast as the video there about Ollie. Another video that came out this week, a video about Christopher Eccleston, another video about Christopher Eccleston, a couple of Series 13 videos, and then just a couple of things on the end as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of like our top 10 videos this week have all been RTD sort of related.
I never thought that we would be living in a world where the 60th anniversary special could potentially be a crossover with the 9th Doctor and Ollie Alexander as the 14th Doctor, written by Russell T Davies. Like, before this week, saying that, people have been like, no, that's not happening. But now that feels like a very real thing. Did
you see Stephen Moffat's comment on Russell T Davies' post?
What did he say?
He just put RTD out.
I love that. I don't know if you followed it, but Russell and Stephen have a really cute kind of banter.
They do, don't they?
On Instagram. It's really cute.
It is funny because I saw it. I was like, oh, it's just a weird fan account, and I could say, oh, it's actually Russell. But for some reason, his account is unverified. Yeah,
cool. Yeah, it's good.
Anything else?
Oh, there was something, but now my mind's
for Series 13.
For 14.
Oh, for God's sake!
Yeah. I think we've covered everything. There was something I thought I had, but I'll probably remember it once we turn off the recording.
What was it I just mentioned? Talked about Russell returning, Stephen Moffat. We talked about writers, cast.
Yeah, I think.
Was it a plot? I'm looking forward to the series structure.
Yeah,
because I think the Daleks have been there, so it'd be nice seeing Russell write for the Daleks again.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. More character expansion, because I feel that's something that was lacked a lot recently in Doctor Who. Is you have the characters like Clara, but there's no real backstory to them. I mean, like their home life and stuff like that.
Yeah. Do you think we'll return to the kind of, because I know some people brand the first RTD era as
soap opera
or kitchen sink drama?
Yeah, I hope so, because I quite like that. I like the expanded world. I like being invested in these characters.
I remember what I was going to say. What we're going to call this new era. I've already heard people referring to the new Russell era as RTD2.
Which is obviously playing on R2D2.
Well, no, it's not. It's just literally.
I think it is, though.
I don't think it's intentional, though. I just think there's an unfortunate coincidence which is going to create a lot of confusion at Comic-Con. Like you'll hear a Doctor Who fan will say, "Oh, I love RTD2," referring to the era. A Doctor Who fan will say, "Oh yeah, he's such a great droid, isn't he?"
We've had a few comments with people saying that now, so I think that's it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much been cemented that we're going to have. Does that mean the first era is just going to be RTD, or is it going to be RTD1?
RTD1.
So we're going to have RTD1
RTD0 is his novelization work.
So Tim, what's your favorite Doctor Who era? The Russell T Davies era or the Russell T Davies era?
It's Russell T Davies era.
Oh, are you sure? Because I think there's really strong stories in the Russell T Davies era. I'm not sure the Russell T Davies era is quite as strong. I mean, it's still really great, but I don't think it quite compares to the Russell T Davies era.
I like John Nathan Turner. Do you want to introduce the episode?
Yeah, I'm just going to look away from Tim right now. And to do that, I'm going to take my head and make it turn left.
What's the episode there?
It's turn left.
Oh, okay.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut it down, pop up!
Make sure you subscribe to the official Bigger on the Inside podcast.
What's the point in having you on?
Harry Russell T Davies is back, but and he's back now as well.
Yeah.
Do you want to shut that door?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is actually the
From
first...
the other side. Get out. It's okay. You can stay for now.
Yeah, this is the first time that we've actually recorded the watch along and the news at the same time on the same day.
Same bat time, same bat channel. Yeah, it is. Yeah, because we forgot.
We forgot what?
Did we forget? Or are we just busy?
We're just very busy.
Busy boys, busy bees.
Yeah, but today we've put a whole afternoon aside to do to just finish off series 4.
Hooray!
Starting with, of course, Turn Left by Russell T Davies.
They're all going to be by Russell T Davies.
They are.
Well, you didn't let me ask you what episode we were talking about.
Yeah, but I still
what episode are we talking about, Harry?
Turn Left by Russell T Davies.
That's right. You've watched this episode twice now because I forgot to watch it. So
Yeah.
you had to watch it with me.
And you know what? It's made me realise Doctor Who nowadays, is too political. Doctor Who should go back to how it was back in 2008 with episodes like Turn Left, where immigrants get sent to labour camps, and the only way to stop it is by going back in time and turning left.
I didn't even pick up on that. Obviously, I picked up on the immigration thing, but the whole turn left thing I did not pick up on.
Literally, you could not get more political. That is an explicitly political statement from Russell.
I mean, they blow up Buckingham Palace.
Well, we don't see it.
We don't see it, but we know that Russell wanted to show it. They just wouldn't let him do it.
Yeah, he said out to me that Russell wanted to.
Yeah, I heard it on a podcast. It might have been Sue Perkins' podcast, where she interviews Russell, and he mentions that they wanted to show it, but the BBC wouldn't let them, which is why it goes white and then glitches out.
Mm.
Yeah, Turn Left. It starts with China of the future.
Yeah,
This sort of unknown Asian-themed planet.
Is it a planet? I assumed it was actually just future Earth.
Well, no, because Donna says I'm from Earth.
Oh, right.
Dickhead.
Okay. Yeah, I deserve that for not picking up every single line.
Jesus. Oh, you can see the quiz questions from there, so I'm going to have to hide these.
I mean, I wasn't looking at them, but...
Yeah, so what did you think of the episode, Harry?
I thought it was very good. It's a very unsettling episode.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that because you feel uncomfortable with Catherine Tate?
Yeah, she makes me feel really uncomfortable.
A lot of shouting and screaming in this episode, isn't there?
Do you think?
Where are they going? Where am I going? Am I gonna die?
It's pretty.
I hope so.
Well, here's the thing: like the Donna that we see in this episode is a distinctly different Donna to we've had the whole series.
She is indeed.
Which is a very deliberate thing from Russell. Like,
you see, one of my questions here: was Donna a nice person?
Not before the Doctor.
No,
she's yeah, like she's really
Beatrice and Anne Marie under the bus.
Yeah, she's really insensitive towards everyone, even when like people have died on the news. She doesn't really care.
Donna's mum as well. She doesn't come across that well at the start of this episode.
She doesn't come across for the last time we see her in the episode. She like there's the thing where Donna says, "Guess I was always useless," and she's just like, "Yeah."
Why do you think that is? Do you think Donna's mum is purposely a bit of a cow to sort of make Donna more likable?
I don't know. I mean,
is it like that thing like Bart Simpson is a terrible kid, but you have to have Nelson there to make Bart Simpson look good? Do you know what I mean? Like you have a character who, if it was just them, you would hate, but then therefore you have to have a worse character than that character.
I mean, it's kind of a thing where you know, Donna's a pretty imperfect character in this episode.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, everyone's a product of the people who raised them. So Donna's a product of her mum.
So let's talk about Martha. Let's talk about Donna and her family. We get Wilf. Wilf's back!
Yeah, this is the most Wilf we've had so far, isn't it?
Wilf Megaload.
Yeah.
I like Wilf. Every time he came, we watched this episode together, and when he came on, I cheered.
You did cheer. I think I was watching Wilf I remember when I first watched this, whenever Wilf was on screen, I was watching Wilf because just like there's always so much going on with Bernard Cribbins' performance.
Yeah. I was going to say, he's an amazing actor in this episode. He gives a really sort of moving performance towards the end of the episode as well, where the housemates really get taken away to labour camps, concentration camps. We'll get all into that stuff towards the end, but yeah, he's great. He's such a fun character. Yeah,
totally. And I mean, it's like there's some scenes where he's just so moved and invested by everything going on.
Yeah,
like the scene when like London gets destroyed and they're all outside the hotel watching. Like you can see, like they're all doing a great job, but you can really tell that Wilf is just processing that and the weight of that.
Of course, this is the Dr. Light episode, and I would argue this is the most Dr. Light episode we've had so far.
Well, yeah, because the whole premise of the episode is what would the world be like without the Doctor?
Father's Day, he's still sort of in it. What's Series 2 Dr. Light episode? What's that one?
That was Love and Monsters.
Love and Monsters. He's sort of in that fleet. He's in that throughout the episode. Blink, he's in that throughout the episode.
In this one, he's dead.
Yeah, he's in it at the very start and at the very end.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And he's underneath a sheet, but that might have been Colin.
Yeah, who I think we've interviewed Colin, David Tennant's double. It might be out, it might not be out. I can't remember. It's been a while since
I'm pretty sure it's out. Yeah.
It's not out yet.
Is it not out yet?
No, not yet.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It comes out October time, end of October.
Okay.
It comes out when the last couple of episodes tie in.
Oh, right. That's clever.
See.
That's some good timing.
There's some flashbacks all the way through this episode to previous Donna episodes. And so let's talk about the Runaway Bride. And it sort of ties back into an episode that by this point is 2 years old.
Yeah. And
it's still one thing that really struck me about this episode is how self-involved it is with the whole story of Doctor Who. And that sort of goes to show how many people are watching the show that they weren't thinking they're going to alienate audiences because it already has such a massive audience that it wouldn't matter if you alienated people, no pun intended.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, totally. I mean, if an episode was going to alienate people, it would have been this one. But I guess, like you said, they just had that faith that they had that
7 million people watching.
Yeah, and it was growing week by week.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed about this episode actually is that it showed a lot of kind of faith in this episode conceptually, that it's got a considerably bigger budget than the other Doctor Light episodes. Like
it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Like Father's Day takes place pretty much in one small location. Blink takes place in only like a handful of locations. This one, there's a lot of going on, a lot of set pieces, a lot of different locations.
A lot of visual effects as well.
Yeah.
Granted, a lot of those will be pre-used, like the giant spider star flying through the sky.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
And the adipose.
And the adipose, yeah. But it's all done very well. And I think I tend to, and I'm like, this is really clever. Like the bit where the Atmos cars just go mental. It's like something I haven't thought about since we watched those episodes. But now, like, you watch them and you're like, oh, it's amazing. It just ties it all back in so well.
It kind of shows that the Doctor Who world is a terrifying place to live in.
Yeah, and I think it's something we spoke about when we watched Love and Monsters as well, was that I like it when they expand the world of Doctor Who past the Doctor and whoever is with that week.
What is it like just for normal people to inhabit this world where there's alien threats just every 6 months?
What did you think to the death of the Doctor in The Runaway Bride then? This whole sort of thing that he died before he could regenerate. I sort of felt like it was quite a strange way for the Doctor to have died because it's just kind of weird.
Do you think the Doctor would have regenerated, that he would have run without
I think
Donna?
I think. Well, no, because in this, Donna never met the Doctor, did he? So he was in there on his own.
Yeah.
But I sort of feel like he probably would have got out.
Mm.
I would have been surprised if he did. That was the thing that killed him. Being a bit pissed off at a giant spider.
Okay, so how would you have killed the Doctor?
I don't know. I feel like maybe an adipose, not the like the Atmos cars probably would have been the closest he could have come to death. Maybe being trapped in a car and just gassed.
Yeah.
Because even then, if he did regenerate, he would have just gassed again. And, you know.
So then the corpse wouldn't even look like the Doctor, would it?
No, so they wouldn't.
It would look like Matt Smith.
Yeah. Oh no, the dead boy in this car. A dead teenage little boy with some weird old man eyes, dead in the front seat of this car. And look at his hair. Did I ever show you that thing where it was I think it was Telegraph when Matt Smith was announced as the Doctor, and it's like they're clearly going for a dark emo.
Oh yeah, because it had a really kind of gothic look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like
dark
like Matt Smith's going to be playing an emo Doctor. It's like so far from what it actually became.
Yeah.
So what else do I have here in my notes? Let's talk about Billie Piper. She gets a credit in the opening titles. Her introduction into this episode is kind of just, and here's Rose.
Well, you see kind of like, you hear the little tag, which Murray Gold uses a lot in this episode.
There's a lot of Doctor Who motifs in the music.
Point out Torchwood at one point.
Yeah, I like that way he goes, diggy, like that.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the whole thing where like she's in the background and she runs into frame.
Yeah.
But it is kind of, it's sort of understated within the moment, isn't it? Which is weird because it's something that's been built up to the whole series.
Yeah, no, also it's like, Rose is here, hi. What did you think to Billie Piper's performance? Because it's clearly deliberately different. It's not Rose.
Yeah, she's more subdued.
I sort of picked up she's almost playing a variation of the 10th Doctor.
Yes, definitely. Like there's some bits where like the bit when she mentions Donna's granddad's telescope feels like a very 10th Doctor delivery.
Yeah, I think she even says at the end that she says something and Donna goes, what does that mean? And she goes, I don't know, it's just something the Doctor would have said. And then Donna starts screaming and shouting at it again. Give it a rest. I remember when I was a kid watching this, my parents really not liking Donna because all she did was scream and shout. And I really like the character of Donna, but I do feel that's maybe a slight downside to that character. But then again, this is a version of Donna that never met the Doctor anyway, so it's how anyone probably would have reacted. Yeah. And compared to most people in this episode, she's probably the bravest.
Yeah, she has to deal with a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also
she has to move to Leeds.
Oh yeah. A big red stamp that just says Leeds.
Because Leeds is, as we all know, is the
hell on earth. Jokes, obviously. I do actually quite like Leeds.
Yeah, I don't mind Leeds. Its architecture is, with the way the city's designed, you've got kind of all kinds of a mixture of buildings from different time periods, all kind of thrown together in a really weird way. It's very hilly. Leeds is a strange city for me. Whenever I go there, it feels unlike any other city in a good way. But yeah,
Martha Jones,
she's dead.
Sarah Jane Smith,
she's dead. Torchwood, they're all dead. Yeah.
I like the little mention of Martha was nice, but then for some reason, maybe it's because Elizabeth Sladen is actually dead, the mention of Sarah Jane, it kind of caught me off guard because you see a picture of her on the screen, and because she's an older character, I don't just mean a legacy character, I mean she's played by an older actor. And then you see her face on the screen, it's kind of a sweet thing knowing that, because you sort of build that backstory instantly, yeah, don't you? Like she knew it was a Doctor and something had gone wrong, so she went to help. Out of all the companions, Ace, Susan, and all these other people, it was Sarah Jane who went to help, and she didn't. She died.
Yeah.
She wasn't that good then, really, was she?
Jesus Christ.
Turns out none of these people were very good. They all died.
The Doctor would have died as well had he not had his companions to save them.
Would Torchwood have even been made, the Captain Jack Harkness version of Torchwood, if it wasn't for the Doctor? Because
that Torchwood sector formed following the Battle of Canary Wharf, which had happened.
But would it have happened? Yeah, because I keep forgetting that all this is post Runaway Bride stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is. Well, it kind of is Runaway Bride stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. What you got? Anything you want to say?
I think the stuff, especially the stuff.
It's a hard episode to talk about because it repeats itself a lot this episode, but it's an interesting way it does.
It reminded me a lot of, because I mean I know why. Did you ever watch Russell's series Years and Years?
Very briefly, yeah.
Because this episode, rewatching it tonally and with a lot of the things they do, especially the stuff with kind of the immigrants being sent to a labor camp at the end, is very reminiscent of certain things within Years and Years. And it actually turns out that I think the idea for that series first occurred to Russell when he made this episode turn left.
Oh, really?
So it's kind of interesting that kind of the DNA of this episode conceptually
there is a lot of
lived on.
You're right, actually, there's a lot of similarities there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Especially with Russell Turvey and his boyfriend character, the whole sort of thing of being locked in camps and stuff. What do you think to Rose being inside sort of a dying TARDIS? I really like it when the TARDIS. I know at the end of the episode we see the TARDIS where it's all red and nuts, but I quite like seeing it when it's dead. Yeah,
same. I think it's very cool that I don't know how much they do it with later iterations of the TARDIS.
Well, we see
this TARDIS. They do a lot of cool things with the lighting of it. It changes a lot throughout the series in different ways.
There's a Matt Smith episode, isn't there, where he ends up in the David Tennant console room?
Yeah, although they use different lighting it there. Don't they? Yeah. And it's just kind of cool because it's such a familiar and in some senses kind of like comfortable, safe, homely environment. Like kind of usually when you see the Doctor in the TARDIS, everything's okay, everyone's safe.
Yeah.
But so to see that change, like I remember they did that during the series 3 finale as well.
With the Master.
Yeah. And it's always very unsettling to see that space kind of invaded and changed in some way. It's like, no, this is not what the TARDIS should be like.
Yeah. Unit get a big play in the episode. We see a lot of Unit. What I like about what they've done with Unit in this era is there's returning Unit characters that you get to know. Maybe you don't get to know their names, but you definitely recognise their faces. Even stuff like the news reporter. She's in like nearly every episode. Every time the news is on, it's the same American news reporter.
That's true, yeah.
I love stuff like that, and I can't wait for that to come back.
Something I actually really enjoyed with the American news reporter this time, because we see both British news reports and American news reports. And I couldn't help but notice that the American news reports were kind of depicted in a slightly more sensationalist fashion. Like everything was way more dramatic of like, people are fat and they're gone, and also aliens.
What did you think to that? To the fact that basically Russell wrote in this episode that most of America died because they were all fat and they all turned into adipose.
So I didn't read it as that when I saw it.
The reason I read it as that is because there's the line that follows that is America will save us or something like that.
God bless America. That's before that. Yeah.
And then it's we're all dead.
So the way I interpreted that was that because the borders were cut off to the UK, that meant adipose had to establish itself somewhere else. Okay. So it picked the US.
Is Donna a bit of a stupid character?
Well,
there's that whole thing where she thinks she's going to live, but you sort of know she isn't.
I feel like anyone who's been told they're going to die are going to try and look for a way out of dying, aren't they?
The reason I hesitate is because what I actually wrote down is Donna a little thick?
I think that's a bit rude. I think that's a little bit rude. I know you don't like
I didn't mean thick as in up here. I meant thick as in.
We had this joke when we were watching. We had this joke when we were watching because we watched it together this time, where whenever anyone was freaking out about something on Donna's back, we made the joke of what if instead of it being a bug, the character just has a really large
comical, like massive ass.
Yeah, everyone's just looking at that.
Not just like a nice ass, just like ridiculously like vases knocking off,
like inflated.
Yeah. And everyone's always like, oh. I think you said the scene where she's in all the mirrors and it just lights up and it's just someone turning around.
I just see the ass and they're screaming.
Dear me. I'm getting towards the end of my notes here, but one thing I did notice is that I think we probably mentioned it with Love and Monsters is you don't always need the Doctor to make a really good Doctor Who episode.
Yeah, and this is another. I mean, I think in every single episode of the Russell era, the Dr. Light episode is one of the strongest ones.
Yeah, it tends to be.
And we are including Love and Monsters. We
Is
really
this the
like
first?
Love and
Oh,
Monsters.
no, it isn't. Who wrote Father's Day? That was Paul Cornell.
Love and Monsters was Russell.
Russell.
Blink was
So this is
Stephen.
only the second Dr. Light episode from Russell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's good.
it tends to be good.
Mm.
There was a little reference to the Sarah Jane Adventures as well, with the beetle thing being the work of the Trickster, who is a Sarah Jane Adventures villain.
What were your thoughts on? Because other than kind of the recurring monsters that all kind of happen off screen, the main quote unquote monster of this episode is the bug thing.
Yeah, the beetle.
The beetle, yeah.
Do you Ringo Starr?
I'm going to create an alternate timeline.
So, Donna, there's something on your back.
Donna Noble, there's something on your back.
There we go. I like it. There's not much. There's not really say much about it, though, do they?
No, I think the thing that really works for it is the sound design. Like those bug clicks and noises are really unsettling.
Yeah.
Like you can really sense it.
Let's talk about the final bit of the episode where Donna says she was blonde. And I looked at you as if to say, as if that narrows it down. Because every single love interest the 10th Doctor has had has been blonde.
Madame de Pompadour.
Kylie Minogue.
Astrid.
Yeah. I kind of like the climax of this episode because it does exactly what they did in the series 2, which is it's a pretty fun episode. And then you get to the end and you're like, oh shit, this is going to be good.
You mean series 3?
Well, no, series 2 with like the Battle of Canary Wharf. Like,
but also
that whole episode where the Daleks then revealed in the last 2
But then
minutes.
it doesn't get, and then there's a similar thing to Utopia as well. How Utopia ends. Murray Gold's, and then the Murray Gold score kicks in and gets really intense.
Yeah.
And then like it does the huge, awesome trailer for the next time.
Yeah.
Russell knows like how to get you hype.
He does. And you know what else gets me hype?
What?
The quiz!
You, not me. I hate being patient. Patience is for wimps.
Oh yeah, baby.
Okay, 4 questions. Okay,
let's go.
When Donna and her mother are decided if they're going to turn left or right, how much money does Donna's mum say Donna would get a year if she was to take the job that she was offering?
Cripes. I don't know, 30 grand?
20 grand a year. So that's not right. What is the name of the man who Donna recommends should be fired instead of her?
Oh, what was his name? Was it Charlie?
Cliff. Not doing too well. When they arrive at the house in Leeds, what number is on the door?
I wasn't looking at the door number.
What number?
26.
Say that again?
26.
26.
No way! How'd I get that?
How did you... Is that an actual guess?
Yeah.
Okay, and when Donna is transported to London, at the end of the episode, where does she actually end up?
Oh, what's the street name? Can't remember, she like exclaims it, all frustrated. I'm in... Oh. I'm just going to say, I don't know, Twickenham. It's not Twickenham.
Sutton Court.
That's it.
You got 1 out of 4, but it was a good one to get.
It was a good one to get.
Very well done.
Yeah.
Then again, pretty shit though, because it is 1 out of 4.
Yeah.
Recommendations.
Before I go, I just want to tell you were fantastic.
I'm going to plug the play. I'm not going to plug the play. I'm not going to plug my play again.
I'll tell you what I'm going to plug, Harry. This week, as you know, I went to, for those who don't know, I'm a nightlife photographer. Oi, oi! And and I got to work with TV children's legends Dick and Dom this week. And they were great fun to work with. Got to take their photos at a club and sort of have a quick chat with them. And I found out they did a podcast called Cash from Chaos.
Okay.
There's only 1 series because I believe it's being developed into a TV show for people of our age, like millennials who grew up with them.
Ooh.
Because it's a really fun podcast in which Dick and Dom take £200, they put it in a bowl, and basically you have to do silly, stupid games to try and win as much money of they say it's their show fee.
Right.
As possible, but the games, it's not like Creamy Muck Muck and Dancing with Melvin O'Doom.
Oh, they should bring back bogeys.
It's more sort of, it's more grown up sort of aimed, the kids who grew up with them. So there's a couple of swears in there. You know,
Dick and Dom do swears.
Well,
They're already basically
Dom
doing...
doesn't do swears.
Oh.
But this gig that they did, halfway through, they went, cheer if you love Dom, and everyone cheered, and of course they went, cheer if you love Dick, and of course everybody just went fucking berserk.
Well, they always made... I rember... is Dominic's surname Wood?
Wood. He had a t-shirt that said, I love Morning Wood.
Yeah, I just went, Morning Wood.
Yeah, so that's what I'm going to recommend. It's a very fun podcast. There's only like 6 episodes, I think, but you know.
It is weird that kind of our childhood icons are coming back. Like Tracy Beaker has had returning TV shows. Now Dick and Dom are coming back. Like, what's next? The Slammer? They're going to remember the Slammer?
The Chuckle Brothers? The Chuckle Brother?
We can't really...
But he does DJ sets, Paul Chuckle.
Paul Chuckle does DJ. I thought he just did Panto.
No, he does DJ sets.
He does DJ sets.
Yeah, man.
What would a Paul Chuckle DJ set be like? It's just 3 hours of Chuckle vision.
Do you know that Chuckle Brothers song?
My name's not Paul Chuckle.
Oh, no. Yes, that's what I'm going to recommend. Harry, do you have anything to recommend?
I'm going to recommend, I believe it's actually ending tonight, but I think you can find it on all 4. Lego Masters Australia.
Oh, God's sake.
I've
done the American one.
I did the American one, I did the British one, but this is Lego Masters Australia, and this one's even better. They have a guy called Brickman, who's one of the 15 world Lego experts.
Did they do like a movie thing the other day? So they did a DeLorean.
Yeah, the challenge was everyone had to make as accurate a DeLorean replica as possible.
Oh, so they all had to do one.
Yeah.
Were they good?
They were. A couple of them made really, really good ones.
Would I have approved?
You would have approved.
Huzzah!
I love Lego Masters. It's no big secret. Lego Masters Australia is the best one so far.
Okay, out of the 3, UK, America, Australia, number 1 being the best, 3 being the poop.
They're all great. They're all fantastic. But number 1 Australia, number 2 US, number 3 UK.
You hate England, traitor.
Hey, I prefer the UK office.
Your handbags and your glad rags that your poor old granddad had to sweat to buy you.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done now. Do you want to go and watch Davros is Back, Baby? What's this one called?
The Still on Earth.
The Still on Earth.
We're literally, as soon as we turn this off, we're going to watch The Still on Earth.
And then we're going to watch you from a window. I'm very hyped today. I don't know why. I think it's because we've just watched some really good episodes of Doctor Who.
You're really hyped for The Still on Earth.
I am. Can't wait. I'm going to steal this fucking planet as well while I'm at it.
Oh no.
I know, I just revealed my Despicable Me inspired master plan.
Oh no. You're going to get a Pharrell Williams song.
God, I hope not.
Make sure you subscribe to the official Bigger on the Inside podcast.